You are an educator, so you're going to make a difference today. I am so sure of that. But will it be on purpose or by chance? If you don't know where you're going, how will you know? How will you know when you get there? Aim like you mean it. That's our topic today on the Educators Among Us podcast.
Welcome to the Educators Among Us podcast, where we share motivational messages and inspiring stories for and about educators. Your host, Scott Barron, is author of the critically acclaimed book, Love 'Em and Lead 'Em, and provides powerful insights and wisdom for those who heed the call to teach, coach, lead, and serve at all levels of education.
This is Scott Barron, and I'm honored to be your host for the Educators Among Us podcast. This is a program that is specifically designed for educators because they change the world. And regardless of their role, whether they're a teacher, a coach, they're on the board, they're a staff member, they work in facilities, the lunchroom, they're in the counseling office, whatever. It doesn't matter what your role is. When you contribute to the life and the service and the work of education, you change lives. And that's an exciting calling. And so often we see educators that they underestimate their impact. And that's unfortunate because, boy, we see over and over that the lifelong impact of educators, it goes on for years, even decades and generations. And so that's the exciting thing that we want to do through this podcast that we call Educators Among Us, is to say, hey, you matter. We see you, and we so appreciate what you do because your influence is imperative to the trajectory of people's lives. And so we're thankful for that you have a goal, that you have an aim. And what we aim at is really important, right? We know psychologically, spiritually, mentally, physically, what we set as goals really becomes a defining factor for our success, right? We tend to, when we set clear goals and we know what we want, that tends to be where we then invest our energy and our time, and we start to see the results, right? Our aim matters, right? So, yeah, and you may remember sometimes when we're taking a journey, maybe as a kid, right? I remember those long trips riding in the car. Back then, it was in the back of a station wagon, perhaps, and remember the wood, the wood on the panels and the sides. For some of us that are that old, we may remember that. But we would sit in the car, and of course, it was impossible for me as an ADHD kid to sit there and be quiet and leave my sister alone, and it was impossible, right? And of course, we would always ask, those questions, right? Are we there yet? How much longer? When can we stop, right? And persistently asking these questions with an especially annoying tone of voice, right? Boy, that continues to be a great way to drive parents and even maybe those in charge over the edge, right? And, come on, we're tired of sitting here, right? But it's easy to get frustrated when we don't know the goal, right? When we feel like we're stuck, we don't know if we're on track. Are we going in the right direction? And it's important for us as individuals, as educators, as well as even for our schools to know what we're going, right? I think it was Pablo Picasso that said, our goals can only be reached through a vehicle of a plan in which we must fervently believe. We have to believe it, right? And then upon which we must vigorously act. There is no other route to success. That's why school improvement plans and strategic plans and other things are so vital to our work. And yet it's so hard to kind of get everybody together on the same page and working towards the same things. But our aim matters, right? It matters in terms of our relationship with our families and our faculty. They want to know that we're not just going through the motions, that we're going somewhere, right? If you aim at nothing, say Zig Ziglar, you'll hit it every time. If you aim at nothing, you're going to hit it, because you're just kind of, life is happening to you versus you happening to life. You see, people with better goals attain better results because they have focus and they have a mechanism for feedback. Right? They have a focus, which is, they're looking straight ahead with bold determination. They know what they want, and they have a determination on their goals, and they know what the next steps are. They have clarity, right? But they also have feedback, which enables, more accurate learning. We always have to make adjustments. There's things that get in the way. There's things that we can maybe anticipate, and some things we can't. What we can learn to anticipate is the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. That's part of the journey, and we have to make improvements in our techniques and even in our destination. But we know where we want to go, and we stay focused, right? When clarity in our aim is combined with a specific plan to hit the mark, well, then we have a powerful combination that brings out the best in us, right? And it fulfills our purpose. That's when we really become a team, right? When we're able to see what we want together, have agreement together, and then we're working in unity together, right? The plans of the diligent, that they lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty, says Proverbs 21:5, right? The plans of the diligent, they lead to profit. They lead to accomplishing our goals, of achieving the outcomes that we want. So start with goals that matter, right? That's the key part of any plan, personally, organizationally, right? Start with goals that we really, we know are significant. They make a difference, right? And because goals without heart and meaning, they're seldom pursued, right? That's not motivating, right? Of course, the goals also need to be measurable. We have to know, are we on track or are we not on track? Because if we don't know if we're making progress, it's demotivating. Progress, getting things done, is a powerful advantage for everyone, but especially as we make progress with schools. I mean, we have to consider, of course, that we're moving into a period of time when schools are faced with a lot of change, and we're not naturally inclined towards that often as educators, and we're going to have to embrace that because it is going to be a part of our journey for quite some time, right? So we want to set goals that matter. We want to set goals that are measurable. We also want to set goals that they should be manageable as well, where they can be reasonably accomplished and achieved. We're not looking at setting goals that would be just kind of impossible, either because it's not reasonable, or we don't even have the authority sometimes to make some of those decisions. So we want to set goals that are manageable, and of course, as we're working towards our goals, having a mentor is a game changer, right? It gives us a competitive edge to accelerate wisdom and growth, right? And because if we can learn, right, if we can learn from the past, right, in the expertise of others, right, that's critical. Now, we want to learn from the past and not live in it, right? Accomplishing our goals, having the right aim, to aim like we mean it. It means that we have to sometimes let the past go, and instead we're able to look forward, to plan forward, to execute forward. And that's a key part of our growth as educators and as people, right? The past is real, but the past is the past. And that's an important part as we take aim. As we aim like we mean it, well, then we plan our work. We plan our work, and we work our plan. We know what we're doing. When we wake up, we know our intentions. We know what our goals are. When we finish this day, an interesting question maybe to consider as you're crafting your plan. When this day is done, what would make it extraordinary, right? What would make it where I could actually celebrate today? That's an interesting thing to maybe to think about. So as you continue in your work as an educator, we ask that you aim like you mean it. Know what you want, set your goals, and then make sure that you understand that the path to excellence, it can't be walked alone. We have to also begin to bring people with us on that journey. So a coaching question as you're going through this week, as you're continuing on this noble quest as an educator, a coaching question to think about, right? Did I do my best to aim for my goals today? Did I do my best to aim, to have clarity, to have feedback, to have focus on my goals today? Hey, thank you for what you do. You are a blessing to many people, some that you'll never know, and that's the work of an educator. Is we get to make an impact on a lot of different people, and sometimes our influence is hidden. It's something that's more subtle, but you do make a tremendous difference, and so we're thankful for you, and we ask that, hey, as you go through this week, remember, love them and lead them, my friend. This is Scott.
Thank you for joining us for the Educators Among Us podcast and for your courageous commitment to this noble calling. We get you and the challenges of this work. To stay connected with this community, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and weekly encouragement at educatorsamongus.com.